The crypto industry celebrates its largest acquisition to date while AI meme coins take off. We cover all this right now in the Collective Shift weekly recap, actionable insights, and a breakdown into the crypto market, all in under 30 minutes. Nick, last week of October, how are we?
Yeah, very good. When you put the words AI meme coin and then biggest acquisition and you talk about Stripe in the same sentence, for me, that's just a lot to deal with and kind of feels like we're living in some alternative reality. But no, this is correct. And we'll probably get into a lot on why some GOAT meme coin is absolutely storming up, the charts and the market cap. But perhaps you can get us into a nice market update ahead of the upcoming US election.
Yeah, sure thing. Up on our screen here, we have Bitcoin down slightly over the past 7 days, down 2%, ETH down 10%, or nearly 10%, and Solana is actually up 3.5%. So another all-time high in terms of the Sol ETH pair. So Solana's price, measured in ETH terms, and also Solana's price against BTC doing quite well also. So that's the status of the crypto market at the moment, and Solana really just coming back to, I guess, the front of everyone's minds if they hadn't left already, with some really solid metrics, which we'll get into later. Probably the biggest market sort of moving thing to be paying attention to up on my screen here is the US jobs numbers, or latest jobs report comes out later this week, Friday US time. And we've been talking about inflation all of these years. That has been the thing that the Federal Reserve has cared about the most, while they have tried to get inflation back under control, which for the moment, it looks like they've achieved that, but there are valid concerns, I think, about inflation creeping back higher, but I think that's more of a 2025 sort of thing. So in the meantime, I guess why I'm emphasizing this jobs report is this is what is, in the short term, impacting the Federal Reserve's decision making the most. So it's the thing they're watching the most closely. So if we get really, I guess, unexpected data to the upside or downside, that can really affect, I suppose, the rate or the speed with which the Federal Reserve cuts rates. So people are still expecting the central bank to cut rates in November. Some debating whether it'll be 50 or 25 basis points. But of course, into 2025, it's one of the biggest bull markets in crypto. I guess the reason or factors about this bull market, which is why a lot of crypto investors are getting excited, is one of those being that the Federal Reserve and globally, all the central banks will be cutting rates into the end of this year and 2025. So that's really, I suppose, why the jobs numbers this week are worth monitoring. But really, we'll get into it because we got a lot this week. And of course, a really, I suppose, historic moment for the crypto industry. What is it this week, Nick?
Yeah, we alluded to it last week with rumors that Stripe was going to acquire Bridge, which is a stablecoin platform company, but come out this week that they have come out public and that is happening. So $1.1 billion, and it makes, is it now, Matt, the biggest acquisition of a crypto company? Yeah. And not only that, but it is the largest, I think, acquisition by Stripe in their corporate history, which for me says a lot when you have a big name like Stripe, which is in a fintech powerhouse, and their biggest acquisition is a crypto acquisition. So I think that's absolutely huge and really underrated in significance. Really shows that, hey, crypto is not just really a casino, but major players like Stripe are looking at stablecoins, which is really the first killer use case for cryptocurrency and blockchain that has gained real significant adoption outside of just speculation. But there's a great quote I saw here from Stripe's CEO who, I'll paraphrase here, is calling stablecoins room temperature superconductors for financial services. Thanks for stablecoins, business around the world will benefit from significant speed, coverage, and cost improvements in the coming years. And Stripe is going to build the world's best stablecoin infrastructure. So this is really exciting and probably one of the most bullish posts I can quite think of, especially coming from Stripe's CEO. Really underrated in my mind, Matt. Did you catch this one?
Yeah, for sure. I think just great signs overall. When you look back at 2024, this will be one of the things that a lot of people reference. Remember that time when Stripe came out with this acquisition news. That's absolutely going to be the case. And really yet another win for stablecoins. And we've seen the rumors of the likes of Robinhood maybe looking into stablecoin launches. Revolut seemed a lot more further along the lines. They're, by all reports, actually preparing to launch their stablecoin. So if Robinhood did one as well, eventually that would also be enormous. But even so, Stripe here, if they come out with their own stablecoin, or whether they just continue to, really be the plumbing underneath that facilitates a lot more stablecoin adoption, either one is a massive win. And yeah, it just couldn't be any more exciting, I suppose. There was some talks about whether this would kickstart the M&A sort of theme, like more mergers and acquisitions in the crypto space. From everything I've sort of seen, this is being viewed as an isolated incident. We've seen the venture capital market or conditions really drop off considerably since the heights of, the 2021 and whatnot. So it's consistent, not just in crypto, but everywhere else that VCs have been struggling in relative terms. So this is a much needed, I guess, some hope for builders out there who are wanting to be acquired. But it doesn't really, it's not a trend just yet.
Yeah, I think fintech interest in the crypto space, probably my defining moment of 2024 when we do our recap, because name of BlackRock's deploying on-chain funds. Visa doing their tokenized platform that's going to go live next year, and that's going to be piloted on Ethereum. They're doing stablecoin settlement. PayPal launched their stablecoin this year. Now we've got the likes of Stripe not only supporting crypto payments again and crypto businesses, but the biggest crypto acquisition in the history. So fintech 2024, that's probably a key theme for me, Matt. Funnily enough, so going from one of the most legitimate crypto, news stories of the year, now we're going to pivot into goat meme coins, Matt. Can you shed some light on why a goat meme coin has pretty much stormed up the rankings? From what I saw here, it's up to 140. It did reach a high of 860 million market cap, although now it's dipped below 600 million. Maybe you can shed the listeners on what's going on, and I guess why it's, a significant thing in the market.
Yeah, sure. It was, quite a wild, inception or just origin story for Goatseus Maximus, and just the surge up the rankings as everyone sort of had an opinion on how big it's going to be, and everyone had an opinion on how truly AI this actual project was. So if we break it down, it's essentially this bit of software that some sort of hobbyist like developer put together. It's called Truth Terminal, and it essentially chose this goat meme coin to be, I suppose, the meme coin that it wants to sort of associate itself with or align with. So from my understanding, this meme coin actually existed for several months, but it wasn't until this Truth Terminal decided that it wanted it to be its like leading token and the one that defines it. That's how it all started going. I think it really kickstarted and really spread. Attention started spreading like wildfire once you had Mark Andreessen from, co-founder of A16Z, one of the largest, if not the largest, venture capital investment firm in the world. He is being sort of promoting it, or at least just sharing the whole concept of Goatseus Maximus and Truth Terminal. And he actually, funded it with a no strings attached grant of $50,000 where the Truth Terminal, I suppose, was able to get more I guess, developers support and paying for more usage of what is ultimately AI, like AI bots going back and forth between each other and having sort of an infinite conversation. So you can even check out the website, which we'll link to below, where you can just see these AI just having conversations with one another. So Mark Andreessen did a podcast last week just going deeper into why it caught his interest. And I suppose what utility or what this could sort of unlock or signal coming ahead for the convergence of AI and crypto. But in the meantime, this meme coin has sort of been the firing, the jump start of this trend in a way that we've been commenting on for a while now. And it was almost like, the arrival moment in a way, even though it's just a meme coin that is sort of semi-autonomous. Like it has a Twitter account where it will publish tweets based on what's going on in Truth Terminal. However, like the Truth Terminal account isn't autonomous in the sense, it doesn't reply to any Twitter conversations or whatnot, which a truly autonomous bot would be able to do, which there's some that have already started to come out. But this is just, really, really interesting story. I suppose to really talk about the implications. We could talk for hours about this, Nick, but I think it will still be looked back on as a big moment for 2024, because I think for a lot of people, it almost gave them insight into just the AI and crypto use case, which so far has been very abstract and just a lot of concepts and things, which is just a state of how far the tech has come, which clearly it's going to come. But for most of this year, when you say crypto AI, for a lot of people, it was just hard to understand what that actually meant. And this, while it's not truly what we see as being crypto AI in the future, it's absolutely, I suppose, a step forward compared to what we had, which was not much to show.
Yeah, I would say as well, probably just the Memecoin narrative. It also says a lot about. There's a lot of good on-chain, sentiment and mindshare data that shows, hey, meme coins are just continuing to be one of the hottest narratives and capture the most attention of this cycle, and probably just shows that's no sign of slowing down, especially if the bull market does continue and Bitcoin does post a new all-time high in, say, the next 12 months.
Yeah, for sure. Even from the investment side of things, I think everyone knew AI was going to be a massive theme of this crypto bull market, or while the crypto bull market was going, everyone knew AI was not going to stop. And everyone had seen the Memecoin Mania. So I think it just made sense that now you've sort of got this crossover between the two. And I think that's why it surged up the rankings as quickly as it did. So yeah, first AI meme coin to hit the top 100 on CoinGecko. Also the first pump.fun token to hit the top 100 by market cap. But that was, again, just sort of a consequence of Truth Terminal happening to choose that particular one. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it for sure. And there's a lot more ramifications of this that we could talk about for hours, and we'll create content for members. One of them even being the valuation of what were previously looked at as the AI meme investments in a way was BitTensor and things like that, which the value of those has actually struggled since the arrival of Goat. Because for a lot of people, they were investing in BitTensor for exposure to the meme of AI. So that's been one of the many interesting sort of sidebar conversations that are being had. But we'll continue on, and yeah, definitely check out this if you're wanting to just see what's next potentially for the crypto space.
Perfect. Maybe shifting gears to Kraken. I saw that they announced their own Ethereum L2 called Ink. So this is going to be released, I think, sometime next year, if I'm not mistaken. And is built on the OP stack. So Optimism, they have their own infrastructure that you can build chains on and harness, I guess, collective liquidity, all the shared standards, all the users, and you can kind of build in their ecosystem, which is then backed or settled back to Ethereum mainnet. So they're following the likes of Base. Sony also said that they were going to deploy on Optimism, as well as Unichain, as we talked about, I think, in the last pod or two. So another big, I think, coup for not only Ethereum, but OP stack and Optimism, because they're really showing that, hey, they're really becoming the big standards, common standards here of the Ethereum L2 system, which is pretty fragmented. And we got a few of these different kind of standards and groups of, I guess, blockchains that you can build on. And the question has all been, who are people going to choose to build on? Because there's a sort of network effects that comes with the more users and the more projects that are building on that chain. So Kraken, one of the biggest exchanges in the world, and they're following the same playbook as Base, it looks like, in creating their own L2. And for me, it's a kind of a glimpse into the future of, having customized experiences for these exchanges. And they're not only going to look to, hey, we're only going to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or these other altcoins in our exchange, and we're not going to lose those users once they go on chain. So it's kind of a business strategy, really, because Kraken wants to keep owning their users, and this is one way that they've found out that they can do it. We saw Base was wildly successful so far. Be curious to see how much success Kraken happens with the same sort of playbook.
Yeah, thanks for that breakdown, Nick. Another very interesting theme of 2024 with, previously exchanges having their layer 1 chains in the past cycle, like we had OKX having their own chain, which they also now have a layer 2 as well. Binance having their own chain. Just about every major exchange except for Coinbase back in the day had their big blockchain themselves. Like Huobi was another one, but now we've gone that next level of the L2s. And we did talk about Kraken getting their own L2. We spoke about it previously on the podcast up on the screen here. November last year, there were reports that Kraken was preparing to build an L2. They were choosing out of, at the time, Polygon, Matter Labs, which is ZK Sync, and Nil Foundation which I think is just the nil blockchain. So all three of those didn't get the pick at the end of the day, and they actually went with OP, which speaks volumes as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest story here too, is that Polygon was again missed out on another big coup and brand to build on Polygon. A lot of these are just using OP stacks, so OP is still kind of struggling with a lot of unlocks and I think bad in a way tokenomics immediately. But yeah, Polygon, a tough one there because I would have assumed that they probably would have offered Kraken some incentive to build on them. So who knows if that happens, and if they did just choose OP for its super chain, which is much hyped and it's going to be released, I think, in the coming year or in 2025. Yeah, big deal there. And maybe this leads on nicely to our next story here of making Ethereum great again with Vitalik, who's put out, I think, 5 blog posts over the past couple months or so, really putting the future Ethereum roadmap in front and center and suggesting a lot of things to make Ethereum better. Because if you said someone that, hey, Kraken is going to be building on Ethereum rails in the ecosystem, you're going to have Base, you're going to have Sony, you're going to have Unichain, you're going to have all these things, you're going to have BlackRock building an on-chain fund. You probably would have think, oh, Ethereum will probably challenging all-time highs here and doing very well, but it's kind of the opposite that's happened. And although Ethereum's stuck to its guns and delivered its roadmap, it's kind of been at the detriment to ETH's value itself. And there's just been a huge, I think, narrative here to try and bring the Ethereum community together to work out which way I think everyone's rowing. So I'm not sure if you checked out any of these, Matt, but at a high level, it was just all about making Ethereum, I guess, not faster per se. There's always that a group who want to make the L1 great again. But Ethereum's Vitalik's big push here was reducing a lot of the complexity inside Ethereum and achieving some smaller wins on the Ethereum L1.
Yeah, it was great to see this series of posts from Vitalik, who, as we said, I think last week, it took quite a bit of time off of Twitter, or at the very least just wasn't on as frequently while it was on the likes of Warpcast. So it's good to see him now trying to take I guess it's a bit of leadership in a way, but it's people then get critical of the blockchain shouldn't have a leader. But at the end of the day, humans need opinions and people to follow for ideas. So that's what he's doing. And just again, it's funny you said that, Nick. They're actually executing on the roadmap they've said that they were going to execute on, and all the while their value has really taken a hit relative to the likes of Bitcoin and relative to Solana in particular. So yeah, I personally can't remember sentiment being this bad over ETH, the actual asset, as while Ethereum, the blockchain, is actually just kicking goals day after day, and really executing on the roadmap that had long been planned for. So ETH, the asset, really struggling, but if these continue to be executed on, these goals that we got up on our screen here, hey, you'd have to think ETH eventually catches a bid and is re-rated higher after getting harshly sort of beaten down over the past year or two.
Yeah. Yeah. You could just probably cut out that actually.
Okay, yeah.
Just end it at you.
Yeah.
And we'll just go into the altcoin update, I reckon.
Yeah. Okay. Just turn your mic off now. Yeah. All right. Okay, and over to the altcoin segment this week. Just some big updates, or ones that we think are worth covering. Speaking of sort of Ethereum, we do have an L2 here. ZK Sync, so they actually partnered with the Buenos Aires government, so the capital there of Argentina, and for an ID or identification, digital ID sort of initiative, up to 2.5 million users there, looking to get their credentials, I suppose, proven through ZK Sync's blockchain. I'm not sure quite the extent to which they're relying on them, but essentially this is the goal for zero knowledge technologies, such as ZK Sync, which is obviously natively based on ZK, where you can sort of prove your ID, but not actually having to give away the information itself, which is, again, a big dark horse of what can take the industry and the asset class, magnitudes higher than what it currently is, but still has a bit of its, not fully solved yet, but certainly great to see some progress here.
Yeah, tough for, well, it's a good thing for ZK Sync that they're getting in the headlines because they've had a really notorious, uh, really uh, influx of users fleeing the blockchain after their airdrop, which has, and now I think they're one of the lower Ethereum L2s in terms of TVL, and then stablecoins that are inside the platform. Yeah, so ZK Sync, hopefully this can be the thing that triggers something better for the ecosystem because they've really struggled, along the likes of I think Starknet too, who are really falling out of favor.
Um, and then Scroll was another one recently that I reckon joined in with that group there. Just in terms of how different are you materially from everyone else is always the question. And Scroll, ZK Sync, Starknet for the while are trying to figure that out. But over to Solana, the complete opposite side of things in terms of activity.
Yeah, I've really seen a lot of uptick on both on-chain and off-chain metrics for Solana. So one that a lot of people are starting to watch now is a metric called real economic value. So this hit an all-time high this week, and I think it made almost day-to-day daily highs. And you can really see it, especially on the monthly chart, just how much this has upticked. Gito and Radium, so two big, I think, like infrastructure and DeFi platforms inside and protocols inside Solana, they had greater daily fee revenue than Ethereum at one stage last week. And Radium is one of the projects that's really benefiting from all this meme coin activity. We saw, I think, total volume almost start to flip Ethereum again on the dexes. And this has been, I think, 75% of the, activity actually on these dexes were from meme coins. So it's really showing just how much Solana's activity can be tied to meme coins. We did see when meme coins weren't as much of a thing in the last couple of months, Solana's activity really did plummet. So that's probably the one thing I'll really be looking forward to see if Solana can generate activity beyond just meme coins, because obviously that's widely speculative, and in bear markets you just don't see that. But other metrics that really caught my eye too were, I think it's really close to making an all-time high in Solana dominance of about 3.7%. It's really hovering at that mark at the moment. So I'd really be excited to see if it does pass that. We also saw the Sol to ETH ratio hit a new high. And so that is up 340% over the last year. And these are just more data points that show that, hey, Solana is really continuing to show its strength over blockchains such as Ethereum.
Yeah, just really good wrap up there, Nick. And yeah, just you continue to see this Solana and the blockchain itself, plus all the projects building on top of it, just continue to just go from strength to strength. So keen to keep that going and covering that throughout 2025 as well. Over to Maker, the last altcoin update here. They have really struggled with their rebrand. We've spoken about it quite a bit, and I posted for members about it as well. Just with this Sky rebrand from Maker that is meant to go on for multiple years. Sky being sort of the rebrand to Sky just being one small, one component of that multi-year plan. Quite a big component if you're just talking about the retail investors and the market sort of understanding. Totally botched it in terms of like the execution. I think one big thing I think the team and on the Maker sort of forums have been talking about is just not failing to sort of appreciate how big of a role the exchanges play. Given the upgrade was optional, I think it was a bit hard for the exchanges to decide what to do. Like, should an exchange put in the effort to sort of be there to facilitate token migrations, but then also have the reversal supported, all the while Maker, you could argue, is sort of very loosely a competitor with these exchanges anyway. Like, exchanges probably don't really want to be supporting the acceleration of DeFi adoption in the short term at least. So you can understand why they also a lot of them didn't list the Sky token itself, which again made it just more confusing for members, and they didn't list the USDS stablecoin as well. So that was one of the biggest reasons I think why the rebrand failed. And then also just the complexity of having 4 tokens in an ecosystem, but still saying the 2 legacy ones will actually technically still be active and all that. It just made it so confusing. So I think the MakerDAO to hit the headline here is the DAO is sort of considering some options of what to do, whether that's to totally just get rid of the rebrand and just go back to how it was, say, 6 months ago, whether it's to do some sort of hybrid, where as in terms of that, an example of a hybrid could be actually keeping the maker token but still doing the whole redenomination thing of, one maker being worth, 1/24,000th of what it currently is. And many other options being considered at the moment. But the fact they've gotten to this stage of figuring out or trying to assess what to do from here sort of speaks volumes in terms of how poorly the rebrand went.
Yeah, I still come back to that initial video that he did announcing the rebrand. Even that was a bit odd to me as well, like seeing maybe not the professionalism there that you would think. Varun, when he did the first announcement, I was very shocked by that. Like, it was a very haphazard approach, and I remember the market selling off on that day as well. So the market did seem to think that, and 30, 60 days on, we continue to see Maker bleed out, which is really showing that the market isn't seeing that rebrand as net positive. Can you even buy Sky token on exchanges, or is it just up to them?
I think a couple of exchanges listed Sky, but majority of them didn't. So you had to sort of go on their website and do it yourself, sending from the exchange your maker to your own self-custody wallet, and then from there you had to figure out how to get the Sky tokens yourself, which again, very just so many steps involved in that. So no, we'll see what happens to Maker. Obviously, they've got such a large pool of capital and very profitable as a protocol, but that doesn't count for much if your token price continues to plummet, and also the sentiment around it is so bad at the moment. But into what to look forward to for the week ahead, we got Chainlink having their annual conference at the end of this month, so October 30th and 31st. So expect some announcements there, and also different presentations from large players in traditional finance. BlackRock, I assume, will be presenting, as they often do at these, and also Swift. They also often present at these conferences. And ANZ, I think, are also confirmed to be speaking at these. We saw them partner with Swift recently on an additional piloting of Chainlink's infrastructure, which they've been doing for quite some time. But anything else? A little thing called the election.
Oh yeah, some small one, and it's not looking like it's going to be a small one by any means. People are actually shaping it up as one of the most important US elections in recent history, which you can kind of say that at each election. Sometimes people throw those words out, but probably it's never been more meaningful than this one, just due to how contested the election could be and just how close it is. From all the polls that we're seeing out there at the moment. That's probably the biggest thing. Expect probably wild volatility. Who knows which way it could go, especially when you have, I think, Trump talking about reducing potential income taxes and pursuing such a tariff approach to the market. And then you have, obviously, Harris, who has not been pleasant to the cryptocurrency industry in her time as vice president, although she's promising she may be loosening that approach just a bit. So, I think traditional equity markets too look like they've kind of had a bit of a pause. So it's not just crypto that's anticipating high volatility. As we know, we also have the rates coming up too in a similar point in time. So maybe just a case of once the clarity is there in the market towards end of November, then maybe things can start to open up and hopefully continue to go higher in 2025. But if you're sitting there, maybe anticipate a decent amount of volatility and don't be afraid to see quite wild swings in the next couple of weeks.
Thanks, Nick. And in terms of our rapid fire, so underappreciated or overappreciated, I'll go this week with underappreciated. And up on my screen here, we've got Coinbase releasing what they're calling sort of a management platform for your own AI agents. So crypto users able to set up their own AI agents in 3 minutes is what the marketing is. This is one that I haven't seen too many people talking about, and I personally need to look into a bit further, but they're partnering with OpenAI apparently as part of this. But you can easily see a world where Coinbase has been pretty onto this quite early. We've been covering the Coinbase SDK and the Coinbase development team have been releasing these sort of AI crypto sort of functions throughout 2024. This is sort of the latest one of those. And you can easily see a scenario where your bot or AI, a sort of powered bot, is taking care of things like trading and doing limit orders, and executing on your behalf in a self-custodial manner. Also got things like staking, even participating in crypto protocols and whatnot. So Coinbase Wallet is also sort of integrating with a lot of these. So again, I think Coinbase's team and resources are always underestimated. As we've said many times over the years, Nick, they've got a lot of like developers working on things that aren't directly related to buying and selling crypto on a company's website.
They've definitely got probably the most resources, really, and they were really influential in pushing a lot of hardcore Ethereum proposals out as well that a lot of people may not know about. So really excited to see what's coming out of Coinbase. My shout out goes to Overappreciated. From the news that we saw last week, there was a lot of misrepresentation in terms of Microsoft potentially voting on whether to hold Bitcoin on their treasury. So this was circulating in a lot of the media. Some falsely said that the board themselves had put this forward, or that maybe it had more significance than it really did. Because at the end of the day, anyone, if you are an investor, you can apply and put things on the agenda for these monthly meetings or whatnot, or these group events, and especially when you can vote for things. So the significance there is a bit lost, really, if anyone can do it. And Microsoft's board have come out and actually said that they've already carefully considered the topic and have actively encouraged people to vote against this piece of agenda on the
Proposal.
Sorry, do you want to go? Do you want me to go from my shout out this week will have to go over appreciated. I saw a lot of news articles circulating that Microsoft might be holding Bitcoin in their treasury. So this one, I think maybe a few people got a bit excited, not realizing that anyone can, put things on the agenda, especially if you're a shareholder in the company. So although Microsoft will be, and the people will be voting for this proposal, not necessarily to say that this was directly from Microsoft themselves or the board themselves. In fact, the board actually discouraged and told people to vote against this proposal, which would be, I think, to convert 1% of their treasury holdings into Bitcoin. So, I saw a few really reputable sites come out and, accounts promote this as Microsoft's going to hold Bitcoin. A lot of people got excited, but I would think it would be I'd be more shocked that this would pass than, maybe a flyer in the election to come up. So that just points that, hey, maybe don't get too excited. Although this is a nice, I think, signal to say at least people on the board or, the shareholders are thinking about this and putting it to the board.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I've highlighted the main quote there for anyone watching on YouTube, just to summarize what Nick said. But yeah, that is a wrap for this week. If you are looking for more insights, see our revamped weekly Shift newsletter, providing free weekly market insights every Friday. Subscribe at collectiveshift.io/newsletter. That's collectiveshift.io/newsletter.